Hello and welcome to another TLDR video. With the Labour leadership race moving into its next stage, we thought it was time to give you an update on the leadership and deputy leadership races, detailing exactly what happens now, and more importantly, who's still in the running and has a shot at winning. Before we do though, a quick shout out to our podcast. We've completely revamped the format, and we're even putting out sections of the podcast as videos on the podcast channel. So if you want more from us, there's the link to the podcast down below, or you can search for it in your favourite podcast app by looking for Too Long Didn't Read. We even did a section on Labour leadership in our latest episode, and there's a link to the video of that below too. So back to this video. What's happening right now in the leadership race? Well, last Monday, the ballot papers were sent out to party members, members of affiliated trade unions, and some 14,700 registered supporters, who each paid £25 to get a vote this time round. Members have until noon on the 2nd of April to rank the candidates in order of preference. If no single person gets 50% of the first preference votes, the candidate with the least is eliminated, and their votes are redistributed until a candidate does surpass the 50% threshold. But that's enough on the process. Who's actually left in the race? The leadership race is far more concentrated than that of the deputy, because since we last spoke, 4 candidates have dropped out, including Emily Thornberry, who was eliminated from the race after failing to secure the required number of constituency Labour Party and affiliate nominations, meaning that there's 3 candidates remaining in the Labour leadership contest: Sir Keir Starmer, Rebecca Long-Bailey and Lisa Nandy. Given the fact that whoever wins will be the leader of Her Majesty's official opposition and ultimately responsible for holding the government to account, let's take a look at each in turn, in the order they got onto the ballot, starting with Sir Keir Starmer. Widely regarded as the frontrunner, Starmer managed to garner the support of 369 CLPs and 15 affiliated groups, including the Transport Salaried Staffs Association, the Union for Shop, Distributive and Allied Workers, and Unison, the largest trade union in the UK, with more than 1.3 million members. Formerly the Director of Public Prosecutions, heading up the Crown Prosecution Service, Starmer first entered the House of Commons in 2015 as MP for Holborn and St Pancras, and he was a staunch Remainer during the Brexit campaign. In late 2016, he was appointed Shadow Secretary of State for exiting the European Union, a position in which he set out Labour's 6 tests for backing any withdrawal agreement, tests which May's deal would end up failing to surpass. He's also widely credited and critiqued for Labour's Brexit policy during the election, the strategy of renegotiating the Brexit deal and then putting it back to the public for a second referendum. Starmer is looking for a close trade deal with the European Union in future negotiations, and has set out a pitch based on rebuilding the Labour Party, stating to the Sunday Mirror that we cannot bury our head in the sand. Labour must rebuild, and fast. We must restore trust in our party, as a force for change and a force for good. Despite, in the eyes of many, being a more centrist candidate, Starmer does irk back to the policies of the 2019 manifesto, going on to say that Labour should not lose sight of its core values, or otherwise retreat from the radicalism of the last few years. Next up is Lisa Nandy. The only candidate to not be on Labour's front bench, Nandy has got 70 CLPs and 4 affiliates on her side, including the General Municipal Boilermakers, the National Union of Mine Workers, Chinese for Labour and the Jewish Labour Movement. Having worked at Centrepoint and the Children's Society before entering Parliament in 2010 as MP for Wigan, Nandy did serve as Shadow Education Minister under former Labour leader Ed Miliband, but was quick to resign after Corbyn's second election as leader of the party. Nandy entered the race fairly early on, writing in her local paper, Wigan Today, that without what were once our Labour heartlands, we will never win power in Westminster and help to build the country we know we can be. Concluding that from grassroots rugby league and football teams to the charities that have sustained people through the miners' strike, pit closures and a decade of austerity, the belief that our community can be better has always been a driving force for change here in Wigan. We need a government who can match that ambition. Finally, Rebecca Long-Bailey, with 161 CLPs and 7 affiliates, including the likes of the Associated Society for Locomotive Engineers and Firemen, the Fire Brigades Union and Unite the Union, Long-Bailey was the last candidate to secure a place on the ballot. Having entered the House of Commons in 2015 as MP for Salford and Eccles, Long-Bailey was one of the original set of MP to back Jeremy Corbyn as leader, quickly being promoted thereafter to the Shadow Ministry for the Treasury, then Shadow Chief Secretary to the Treasury, and finally in 2017 to Shadow Secretary of State for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy, a position which he continues to hold to date. She firmly represents the left of the party, widely regarded as a candidate backed by Corbyn and John McDonnell, attracting the title of Continuity Corbyn in the eyes of some. Long-Bailey was one of the last to actually formally stand for the position, writing in the Tribune magazine that Labour needs a leader that can be trusted with our socialist agenda, a leader who is totally committed to the policies and has the political backbone to defend them, concluding that we have a mountain to climb, comrades, and the crises we face are stark, but we have a socialist vision, a path to victory, and most importantly, we have each other. According to a YouGov Sky poll, in which 1,323 members of the Labourist electorate were asked to rank the candidates in order of preference, like the actual ballot, Sir Keir Starmer would win outright in the first round, with 53% of the vote. Rebecca Long-Bailey would be in second with 31%, and Lisa Nandy last on 16%. However, Starmer's first round win is within the margin of error. If he failed to pass the 50% threshold, Lisa Nandy will be eliminated, and her votes will be redistributed. But according to the polling, in the second round, Starmer would win comfortably with 66% of the vote, and Long-Bailey would trail behind with just 34%. Of note is the actual composition of the votes, and how it correlates with membership length. Both new members, those since the 2019 election, and old members overwhelmingly back Starmer. Only those who joined during the Corbyn era between the 2015 and 19 general elections back Long-Bailey, and only just. When it comes to deputy leadership, 5 candidates reached the required threshold. In order of nominations, we have MP for Tooting, Dr. Rosianna Ayling-Khan, Ian Murray, MP for Edinburgh South, Richard Bergen, MP for Leeds East and Shadow Justice Secretary, MP for Brent Central and Shadow Equality Secretary Dawn Butler, and finally Angela Rayner, Shadow Education Secretary and MP for Ashton-under-Lyne. According to the same YouGov Sky poll we mentioned earlier, no candidate would win outright in the first round, with Angela Rayner leading the pack with 47%, trailed by Richard Bergen on 19, Rosianna Ayling-Khan on 13, Dawn Butler on 12, and Ian Murray with 9%. Ian Murray would then be eliminated and his votes redistributed. In the second round, although Rayner would now hold 52% of the vote, this is still within the margin of error. If the ballot did go to a third round, Rayner would be expected to win with 58% of the vote. So, with the ballot sent out, it's time for Labour members, trade union members and registered supporters to cast their votes. The result of the ballots will be announced in a special conference set for Saturday the 4th of April. And you can be sure that we'll update you on the results as soon as they come out, as well as letting you know what they mean for Brexit and politics more generally. If you want to be notified when that happens, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified every time we post. Also, we'd love to hear which candidates you're backing in the comments below. Let us know what your favourite candidate for leader and deputy leader is, and why you're supporting them. Also, if you want to get fully into the conversation, you can join us over on Discord. As I said at the beginning, there's a separate section of the latest podcast where we talk all about the Labour leadership election and Keir Starmer. There's a separate video for it, or you can check out the full podcast. But here's a taste of what you could be getting. I think he's definitely tried to appeal to a wide range of people. He hasn't quite gone down the same narrow path some of the other candidates did and have. I think he certainly appeals to a wider group than some of the other candidates. Yeah, he's continued to defend. Yeah, he's continued to defend a lot of Corbyn's 2019 manifesto, while also talking about other priorities.
It'll be interesting to see how much of that is a show and how much of it is genuine, because so far he's done remarkably well. It's sort of two things. There's one is holding that coalition where kept enough Corbynites obviously on side, and then also trapped all the Blairites with him as well.
Yeah. And as I've said before, and I'll keep saying, it's the which direction's the Labour Party going in from now is going to be the really interesting thing. Is it going to try and would used to be called modernising and bringing it back to the centre ground? Is it going to become more ideological? That's the thing that I think is going to be so interesting to look at over the next few years and see like the direction of where the Labour Party is going.
You can find us across Facebook, Twitter, Patreon and Instagram simply by searching for TLDR News. Special thanks to our Patreon backers whose support makes these videos possible.